don't mistake the experience for the abiding. They're two very different things. Now, many people have had openings, however subtle, however profound, flashes of illumination, moments of epiphany, the veil has lifted, could be anywhere in the middle of suffering or next to the ocean or in the forest or just sitting quietly or in the middle of anything, there are as many people who've had experiences, as many variations. An opening, a realization of the union of all things, or the love at the heart of the experience, the human experience. A deep realization that could, be for a moment, an hour, a day, or a few months. Some people have had these for a few months. And then, by and by, either quickly or slowly, the experience fades or changes or something happens, and life in all of its densification, its dense ways, its old habitual reactive ways kind of floods in again or filters in again, or the realization just loses its shine, and there's a sense for people of having lost something, and there begins a struggle, because on that knife edge or in that way, there's then, it sets up a yearning, a longing, a wishing, a hoping, an uncomfortableness that something has been lost. And this can be deep, and it can be deeply troubling, and it can be deeply, profound, and the cause of a yet another wave of suffering that can go on, because there's been a recognition, there's been a deeply abiding experience or recognition or realization, beyond the veneer of the everyday, beyond the veneer of the small self, and to lose it and to return to the matrix, or to the humdrum, if you like, or to the habitual patterns, after having witnessed or experienced such openness, makes the day-to-day living or the experience of the humdrum or the regular or the routine even worse, even more painful. And this sense that I've lost it, and this sense then that I don't know what to do. I can't how do I find that again? And there's the rub. You can't find it again. It's gone. That's what happens. Because certainly the abiding that's being talked about here is not that. It's not the utter illumination. It's the utter illumination or the realization, and then the filtering, and then you open the door and everything comes in. So actually, the realization is the invitation to life to come in, to be welcomed. So there's nothing wrong. It's just, you have to drop the expectation that it's going to be like that, and you have to come back to just living now with this as it is, as it is, as it is. And by, with the enough acceptance and a certain surrender and a willingness just to return to this and drop that memory, drop that. Drop the the seeking of the what has happened, and come into resting in this. Nothing is lost. Nothing is ever lost. But if you try and carry it with you and try and search for it in the future, it'll be elusive. You'll never lose it, but it will be elusive because you'll be trying to catch something that has gone, is no more. It's a memory. It's an imagination, in fact. It was real at the time, but now it's turned into an imagination and a memory. It's in the mind somewhere. But what happens is, if you see that as just an invitation and an opening, that allows everything else to come in a good way, then by and by these two things, a deeper abiding as you meet the nitty-gritty of life, the very raw fabric of life, then you start to carry some of that openness, some of that realization into the nitty-gritty, into the very fabric of your existence, into the very fabric of where, you and life rub up against each other, or you and other people, or you in relationship, or you in relationship to your body, or you in relationship to your family, or work, or the matrix, or, whatever aspect of life there's still grit in. And by this sort of realization that you had kind of filters into that, almost by itself, almost as if by itself, through a kind of osmosis, through a deep integration on a level beyond you thinking that you have to do anything. It's got nothing to do with you doing anything. Doing things on the spiritual path is highly overrated. That's all. It's almost like that. Well, that's all we have, So let's talk about what I can do on the spiritual path. But you can't do anything. You can show up, and you can be willing. But being willing is not a doing. It's not a task. Spiritual seeking is not a task in that sense. So we have to throw out the task-oriented mind and start finding another way, a deeper way, a more subtle way, something that isn't on the linear path of doing in the left brain. It's much deeper, more mysterious, more soft, more subtle, more tender, more gentle, more opening, more dissolving, a willingness. And then this realization will show up in your experiences, almost as if really by itself. And it informs. And so this is what, this is a whole different scenario than saying, well, I saw the light, I realized everything was one, and then I came back because something happened to me, and I was plunged back into, the divided, separate world. And now what do? I can't get back to that. And I want it again. Well, that's ludicrous if you see it in that light. I want it again. For what? For yourself. This is about transcending the self. This is about going beyond the self and what it wants and what it doesn't want. The spiritual journey hasn't got anything to do with that. It's about seeing through those veils, seeing through where the good experience and the bad experience, and just searching for the good experience. This is not a true spirituality. True spirituality is to be equanimous and see that all experience is experience. Some of it is good and some of it is apparently bad. But we have these experiences. The light and the dark are two sides of the same coin of union. And on the human level, of course, we would prefer good experiences and bad experiences. But on this deeper and deeper and deeper level, to see that the human being, the human vehicle, the ego self is constantly dividing everything up, and to somehow live in a deeper abiding beyond that, deeper than that, the ability to live as union. And so when it comes to spiritual experiences, it's the same thing. It's like to see the, the whatever, it might mean to you, the dark night of the soul, which is full of suffering and pain and the agony of one's existence, and the light that one sees in a baby's eyes, or of the, dawn, or to hearing the dawn chorus, or standing on a magnificent beach, or vista view, mountainous view somewhere that is actually ecstatically blissful. To see the dark night and the blissful view as the same, and to not be rooted or searching for either. This is the invitation ultimately. And so that's what I'm talking about here. It's to not hold on to any experience, whether it's good or whether it's bad. This applies to the past, of course, not just to enlightened experiences. To seek a way of finding a way in one's life to let go of being defined by or carrying experiences that happened a very long time ago, that aren't here anymore, except in our memory, except in some aspect of our energy system, but we hold on to them anyway. And there's a time when they need to be processed fully and then let go of as a way of defining us. And so that, the bad experiences start to feed us in a different way somehow. There's a slightly different video that I should make, that I think I probably already have made many of them, because this one is really about the seeing of the realization, of the truth, and then thinking that we've lost that. Nothing is ever lost, and nothing is ever gained, of course. Oh, but to come back to this, thank you. I think we're going to get a power cut. Bye-bye.